So I just saw A Quiet Place and I thought it was alright. My best friend Justin urged me we see this movie instead of Ready Player One just because the premise of this movie was so promising. In a post-apocalyptic world, monsters are running amok, but instead of having eyes, they use sound as their source of sight. This means that if anyone makes a noise, the monster can track you down instantly and slaughter you. I could simply say kill, but these monsters don't pull their punches. Now, I was impressed in a lot of areas. I thought the pacing was good and realistic, the monster was a legitimate threat and had me on the edge of my seat whenever someone made a sound, the tension in this movie was great, and I enjoyed the actors. Since being quiet was the key to survival, the cast had to use sign language and strong facial expressions to communicate. Rarely did I think that someone was being irrational or didn't try to convey a good enough emotion for the audience. This is especially true to the boy in this movie. He gave it his best shot, and it shows as he's the most understandable and realistic character here. This is the same actor that played Jack in the movie Wonder, a film where, again, the acting was superb. Never before have I watched a horror movie and said, oh yeah, that 13-year-old boy here gave the best performance instead of that guy from The Office and Emily freaking Blunt. However, even though there were aspects of the film that I liked, there were still a couple tropes being used. Since most of the movie is silence whenever a sound was made, the editors thought it would be a great time to use the BOOM sound effect whenever they could. It got annoying real fast because there were plenty of jump scares in the movie that shouldn't need to be jump scares. Walking past an old man in the forest when he's in the background, that needs to be a jump scare. The little boy reaches out to his sister when he's under a truck, that needs to be a jump scare. Emily Blunt puts her hand up against a shower door to signal where she is to her husband, freaking jump scare. Also, and this is the last non-spoiler I'll tell, but Emily Blunt and John Krasinski in this movie had an extremely idiotic moment. The reason why is because Emily Blunt is pregnant and expecting a baby. This movie takes place about a year and a half after these monsters attack humanity, and after a tragedy befalls the family in the beginning of the movie. So you're telling me, after all that, after knowing the slightest sound could mean death, John Krasinski and Emily Blunt just couldn't keep their desires in check and went for it? Was there not a discussion that even if the baby was born, it would be the riskiest thing for you to do because it's a freaking baby? They're not exactly known for their silence. And yes, I understand that they took precautions for the childbirth, but most of this family's problems in this movie began because these two were just too horny. If this movie took place during the first few months of the monster attack, I wouldn't have an issue. But no, it happens because John or Emily went to the other and said, let's do it. Who cares about what happened before? I want you so much. So all in all, despite a dumb story idea created for the sake of scares and some poor sound choices, I still think this movie was decent. It's not bad, but I wouldn't say it's fantastic either. It's an alright horror movie with a great concept and good acting. Also, the ending alone was worth sitting through that hour and a half of scares. It just comes out of nowhere, it's superbly cheesy, but Justin and I loved it and we had a good laugh about it. If I were to give this movie a rating, it would be a 7 out of 10. Good movie, but it's definitely held back by certain factors.